the door.
Welcome to the Vermont Dog Trainer Show, your common sense, down-to-earth advisor on all things dog training. Here's your host, Ian Grant.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, so because something happened and I wanted to ask you about it. Okay, so the other night we were done eating dinner. We go to sit down on the couch, and like we didn't turn the TV on or anything yet. And my husband's sitting there, and River sat down next to him. And then River was like licking his paw, and I think the noise added to the fact that we just didn't want him, or my husband didn't want him to keep licking it, you know?
Yeah.
So he just like told him to stop. And I think he just like placed his hand like over his paw. He didn't like, nothing was, you know what I'm saying?
Respectfully, yes.
And then River just snapped at him.
Hmm.
And so my husband was like, we were both like, what? And then so my husband told him to get off the couch.
Absolutely.
And he growled at him again.
Yeah.
So then growled and snapped. And so my husband stood up and told him to get off, and he did, but as he was doing it, or like just before he did it, he growled and snapped again. Yeah. And like we were like shocked. Nothing happened. Like it was just the most bizarre thing that happened. So then my husband told him to get out of there. Like he told him to go into the kitchen. And so then he went to the kitchen, and then I know my husband was probably feeling a lot. I think he was kind of pissed off.
I know that feeling all too well. I experienced it a lot. Yeah.
And so then, but then also River was just like pacing around. He was pacing around the kitchen. Then he went upstairs to our loft, which we can kind of see from our family room. Yeah. And he was pacing around, and then he came down and he was trying to get back up on the couch. And then we were like, no. So we told him to get down like twice. And then I don't know where he went. I don't know if he just sat down or whatever. So after some time, we let him back up, and like he just went to my husband, and like, because you could say they kind of made up or whatever, but he was fine, and he was, nice, and he sat down next to my husband and was fine the rest of the night. So we didn't know what the hell that was about.
Yeah. First of all, the letting go part of it happens quickly with dogs, way quicker than it does humans. And that's okay. I mean, I've seen dogs get into a scuffle, and literally less than 30 seconds later, they're licking each other's faces.
Yeah. Okay.
So just look at that from that point of view. Second, anytime, because it's important you know how to address this in the future too. Anytime that happens after that first growl, I would just get up and go get a leash, and the slip leash is perfect for it, because you can just kind of make the circle out of it and kind of toss it on over his head.
Yeah. Okay.
And then right off, because if you're taking a clip leash and that has to go underneath the chin, which is where his hand went to get to the paws, I think you can enhance already that negative reaction even more. Yeah. So that's where the slip leash matters a lot. Mm-hmm. Okay, so now we have to look at him being able to be up on the couch, right? Because this is his decision to be up there, or did your husband invite him up? Do you remember?
No, I think that at that point, sometimes we invite him up, sometimes he just comes up, yeah. But at that time, he just came up. Mm-hmm.
Right. So then, and I'm not saying this is a forever thing, but I think we got to kind of take the next week and just be a little bit more stricter about that. Okay. I'm guessing I wasn't there. I didn't see it. I know roughly what that looks like. I'm sure your husband was like, hey, all right, that's enough, right? You're just licking. He had no idea where it was going to go when it went.
Of course, no.
Yeah. And so I'm sure it startled River. Also, he's doing what he felt he was doing. The part that kind of like, do you feel, sound like there was three reactions, right? So there was the initial one, the second one where he told him to get down. Mm-hmm. And then the third one, he stood up. Your husband stood up to tell him to get down. And then there was another one.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Were the second and third just as intense, or were they a little less intense?
The first one, I'm sorry, you mean River's reaction?
Yeah.
I think they were just as intense. Yeah. It was just like a growl and like a snap, I guess. Because it happened so quick. And I asked my husband, did he snap each time? Like, And then he said, yes, he did. I heard him growl.
Yeah.
So he said, yeah, it was like the same intensity.
Yeah. So for me, if it was once and the dog like got down and was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I just did that, because they can clearly get startled. It's kind of the fight or flight mechanism kicking in,
Yeah.
So to me, I look at that and go, okay, so those are three, he was committed three times in that scenario to
Yeah.
say, hey, I don't agree with you trying to tell me what to do.
Right.
And so then I look at it and I go, there's a gap, and I don't know what it is, Christy, because I can't, I haven't seen your husband enough working with the dog, but there's a gap in that relationship as far as like why
That's, yes.
River feels like he is able to do that.
Yes. That's exactly what I
You
told my
know?
husband. Yes. And that's what I was wanted to ask you and talk to you about because I think it's that big. Because the last few months, my husband's been really busy at work.
Yeah.
And that's not an excuse. I don't think it's an excuse, but he has
No,
been.
but so I
And
I wouldn't look at it as an excuse, but it's a change.
yeah, well, no, this is what I was going to say. Actually, I wasn't finished. I was just going to say that since working with you, I've been doing a, a lot, most of the training, you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
And
Sure.
I don't think, because I think the whole leash handling and anything and going over him and correcting River almost all the time I'm there. And like I said, most of the time I'm here with River. Almost all the time
Yeah.
I am here
Yeah,
with
yeah,
her.
yeah.
But I told my husband I think that's a big thing because I'm very stern with River, and of course I'm very loving with him. But I don't take his shit. I don't, like, you know what I mean. And
Yes,
my
I do.
husband, and not. I mean, I guess my husband, he just doesn't do it as much as I do. And on top of it, I think the whole leash training thing is a big thing too. And I told my husband I think in the coming months. Um, that he should start doing that because his work is going to be because it's winter time it's going to be less so he's going to have more
Yeah.
time and I mean I was going to ask you because I truly think that's it because if I were to say that to him I don't think River would have acted that way.
Yeah.
I personally don't.
The other part of this too is kind of the follow through.
Mm,
So the three interactions happened. River finally gets down, but now he's lost mentally from what you're describing to me of like he went up to the loft, he's pacing around, he's not sure
yeah,
what he should do. Yeah,
yeah.
so that tells me that it's funny. I just like I just posted about this on Instagram of like
Oh, did you?
to a degree, yeah. If we are not addressing our dog and keep addressing our dog until we get that shift in the state of mind that they get more relaxed, then we're just basically telling our dog to go away. And we're
Hmm.
not ever addressing the behavior that we disagreed with.
Hmm.
So if this is we always have to go with this, like if we review what just happened, we always have to go back and go, okay, if this happens again, this is what I do. So we already know if there's a growl once or anything like that, we're getting up to go get the leash,
Okay.
right? Just no questions asked.
Yeah.
The leash goes on. It doesn't need to get fit right. And this is the beautiful part of a slip leash. You just put it on
Hmm.
and just kind of pull on it to let it do its work. You don't need to even worry about the stopper or anything and just guide him down.
Hmm.
And then from there, I would probably guide him into a sit and I'm just going to make a good solid eye contact, not mean and not upset. Just be like, that was not cool.
Hmm.
And then from there, I'm probably going to sit back down and I'm going to hold the leash for a second with slack on it so that his brain can't go, yeah, okay, and I'm going to go away. No, you have
Hmm.
to stay right here and you
Yeah.
have to relax right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see, and this is the other part of it too, and this is what tells me, and I'm sure we had this conversation weeks and weeks and weeks ago. He's not a dominant dog,
Hmm.
right? Because a truly dominant dog wouldn't go in another part of the house and appear lost and pace around.
Yeah.
So that tells me also that he doesn't have the skills, especially because how he responded to that action. He doesn't have the skills to be able to have those conversations on a regular basis and do it appropriately.
I'm sorry. I don't know what you mean by that. Like have those conversations.
Like, let's say there was another dog in the house
Yeah.
and the dog came over while he was chewing on a bone.
Hmm.
And if he just kind of stood still over his bone, the other dog was like, I got it because your energy is on point.
Hey,
So
sorry.
then that's okay. So look at it from this point of view. We want to be the ones that set the rules in the house, right? As far as
Yeah.
how the dog reacts to us and whatever situations arise. So it's up to us to maintain our composure the whole time. So when he gets out of hand for whatever reason, we don't get out of hand. We use our energy to influence it and bring him back down. And then we can go back to doing what we were doing.
Okay.
You see, he didn't have the ability to go back and do what he was doing.
Yeah.
Because his brain was kind of like, I don't know what to do. I'm just going to pace around and I need a little direction and guidance because that was weird and I don't know what to do. And
Right.
that's what I mean by he doesn't have the skills to like, let me rephrase it. He doesn't have the confidence
Okay. Yeah. Right.
to be able to be like, hey, back up away from my paws. Don't ever do that again.
Right.
And
Right. Right.
hold himself. He's like, I don't know. You
Hmm.
see what I mean? So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
more like you join the program so you can get the skills to
Right.
be able to address that and
Yeah.
follow through with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it stinks that it happened, but obviously there's a change in his schedule, your husband's schedule that's happened, which means there's a shift in the home. Like these matter to dogs.
Hmm.
Not to say that his outburst was the result of your husband's schedule changing.
Hmm.
But what I'm saying is some dogs are very sensitive to that kind of, and we know River's a sensitive guy.
Hmm.
And so I think it's just a shift in their dynamic. That's all. And it doesn't mean that he can't return to it. It doesn't mean we can't recover, all that
Yeah.
kind of stuff, you know?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure to a degree it is the shift in his schedule, but I also feel like a big thing is that he's not uh, like doing as much with River, whether, like training
Yeah.
or I mean, I don't know if I'm wrong in that, but I would think that would make a difference. Like if, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And was this last night you said?
No, it happened on Saturday night because I almost jumped on the Sunday call, but yeah, we couldn't. But so yeah, it happened a few nights ago, and he rarely does it, but it's weird. It's happening more, but doing it with other things. And I have to say, almost all the time, it's happening with my husband.
Mm.
So, I mean, yeah, my husband also knows, like, but see, that didn't even happen. Sometimes when River's acting a certain way, my husband can get a little irritated and angry. Like I'm
Sure.
pretty cool, like, like,
Yeah. Well, you have more
but
repetitions.
yeah, true. So yeah, I really wanted to ask that, and I just didn't understand. Also, you think so, River? I was just didn't understand why River reacted initially in such a way, like him just because sometimes he'll be licking his paws or licking himself or doing something like that with himself, and we don't want him to do it all the time. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It's like getting excessive. So we say like, hey, okay, enough,
Yeah.
Riv, stop it, So that's nothing new. I just didn't understand why he did that initial.
But if it's also getting excessive,
Hmm.
like, is it just happening? It's gotten more excessive recently, or
No, 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 no. It didn't. No, it doesn't get it. No, like he's not doing it more. I'm just saying when he does it, and sometimes when he does it, like on the occasion he does it. Sometimes the noise is, I don't know if you
Yeah.
know that noise. Sometimes
Oh,
it's just
I
like
know.
that licking.
Yeah.
If you know, right?
Yes.
I can't stand that noise. So sometimes we're like, okay, Riv, enough. Like, stop.
Yeah.
Or it can be sometimes that he's licking it.
Yeah.
Too much in that time frame, So that's why we sometimes tell him to stop. So I guess I just didn't understand why he initially did that, like reacted to my husband, because my husband was really gentle, like put his hand over his paw saying like, all right, enough, Rip,
Yeah. So we also have to bring into the picture here, like, is it always certain parts of his body that he does that with, like paws?
Um, Sometimes his paws, sometimes like in between his legs, and yeah, I mean, that's it.
So,
Yeah.
so those are classic areas for allergies.
Okay.
But I feel we had a food conversation early on, I feel like, right?
Yeah, I don't think it's food. I actually think it's so during this time when it gets cold, I don't know if this is it, but his hair, we let his hair grow longer. And
Okay.
recently, um, I've been brushing him a lot more, and actually I groomed him the other day, which was amazing because usually we take him to the groomer, but I bought some trimmers and I did it myself. He sat there for 2 hours just letting me do
Wow.
this.
Wow.
And I mean, granted, he goes to the groomers and they do it, but I don't think they take 2 hours. But yeah,
Yeah,
he
probably
he
not.
he was on. It was me and my husband doing it, and he was fine. Granted, and I gave him treats too, but that's a
That's
long
okay.
time.
That's all
It's a long
right.
time, and then
Yeah.
yesterday I had to do like his sanitary area, and that took a while for me because I don't want, super careful with that. And
Yeah.
again, he just sat there and let me do it. So
Yeah.
he's he was really good at that. So anyways, that my point was is that his hair was getting long and there was some mat, like a lot of
Okay.
not a lot, but some matting. And I think there might be some in his paws. And I don't know if that's why he's liking it, but
Yeah. And it could be.
yeah.
Could be
So I
mats, could
haven't done
be.
his legs yet. So that's
Yeah.
um yeah, so
Yeah.
I don't know if that was it or not. And
But you don't feel like he's in any pain of any sort.
I don't think so.
Okay. There's a saying it's called pain over brain, meaning
Okay.
sometimes pain causes a reaction and they're not even thinking. Like to give you an example, so May, a week and a half ago,
Hmm.
one of her dew claws was literally hanging,
Oh
like the one
no.
up her leg.
Hmm.
And so Serena, who used to work for me, is now a vet tech. And she's a vet tech at my vet. And I told her what was going on and sent her a picture. And she's like, oh, it looks like it's starting to get infected. We should probably bring her in. And I'm like, okay. And I'm thinking, are they going to cut it? Are they going to pull it? What are they going to do?
Mm-hmm.
And so, they had to pick her up, which as soon as we were starting to get around her legs, she was like not having it. And she is 25 pounds of muscle,
Hmm.
little Frenchy muscle I mean, she's strong.
Yeah.
Um, they eventually pulled it. And so we had to get her home. And so I actually fashioned a sock to
Hmm.
like cover one foot, but go up and over, the other
Yeah.
side.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but to put that on, like I felt her teeth on my hand a couple of times because I know that it was painful for her.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I
Right.
also needed to cover it up. Like this is a medical thing, right? Like we need to cover this up so it can heal and the whole thing. So I know she was pissed. I didn't take it personal. She
Hmm.
hasn't done anything since with it, but that's what I mean is sometimes it's pain. Like I don't care who you are. Like
Okay. Yeah. Maybe then, maybe that is it. Maybe I should look at his paws.
I would say just take a time where he's super chill and you guys are
Hmm.
snuggling and you can clearly go down his paws with no problem. He doesn't even flinch
Hmm.
anything. And then just kind of take a peek at it and just make sure, I don't know what there is environmental for these days as far as allergies are concerned and anything, I don't
Maybe
have that
mold. I
knowledge.
mean, are you talking about like outside?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's been raining a lot. It's been like just cold enough just to keep raining. So it's been raining
Yeah.
a lot here, and it's been like cloudy and cold. And
Yeah.
but that's the only thing I'm thinking mold, if anything.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. All I would say is just, keep an eye on it. If you're noticing that it's getting a little excessive, then it may be worth a quick trip to the vet or like an allergy test of some sort. Did you guys ever do those?
I didn't do them. No, I haven't done it.
Yeah. I mean, I
Oh,
know they're
that's
not cheap,
weird.
but so I can tell you, like Melissa, who works for me, she's got a yellow lab. He is allergic to so many things.
Really?
So the food that she has to give him is very like narrow, the amount of
Yeah.
things that he can have. His reaction was actually neurological when he got a food that he was allergic to. He
Oh,
actually
really?
he actually started looking up at the ceiling and barking in the corners and looking around. It looked like he was like possessed. It was one of the
Wow.
strangest videos I've ever seen of a dog. Like
Wow.
he's normally a happy-go-lucky guy, but his head went down, ears back, tail tucked, like, growling up at the ceiling and at a ceiling fan and it
Oh my
just
God.
it's really strange. So it can happen both physically and mentally too.
So, you just asked the vet for an allergy, like a
Yeah. Yeah,
panel test or something?
yeah. I mean, they're gonna draw some blood, obviously. So,
Hmm.
and then, yeah, I mean, it may be worth it just because,
Yeah, initially we
Yeah.
wanted to do that, but the vet here, we don't really like them, and
Yeah.
there's only a couple in town. So,
Yeah.
um, but maybe, yeah, maybe we can.
I mean,
We
I could
always have,
just expand maybe a little bit, and and at least with a vet, it's maybe hopefully a couple times a year at most. So I don't know how far away the other ones are from you, but I'm going further than I ever have. My vet's almost 40 minutes away now.
yeah, like because we're an hour away from Green Bay, so that would be like like going to the groomer. I thought about going to the groomer in Green Bay, or yeah, going to see a vet because they have
Yeah.
like different types of vets down there, like. If I want to go to like holistic, not holistic, but the ones that
Yeah.
take things in consideration
Yeah.
besides.
Not just
Oh,
gonna
well,
pop pills at the drop of a hat.
well, exactly. And that's what our vet does. And she's like, we told her, I don't know, something that we wanted to give him. I can't remember. And she's like, well, that's not backed by science. So, whatever. And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
I get it. I get it, lady.
I do too. I do too. I get it. Um, but you also know what's best for your dog because you see them every day.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Just like training, it's just different for every dog.
Are you a dog owner feeling overwhelmed? Does your dog struggle with listening, pulling on leash, or jumping on people? You're not alone, and that's exactly why I created my 12-week Canines and Culture program. With 18 years of hands-on experience, I've helped countless dog owners go from stressed and frustrated to confident and in control. This online group program isn't about quick fixes or just handing out treats. It's about building the right culture in your home so your dog understands what's expected of them. The next program starts January 2nd. I'm only taking 10 people, so don't wait. Join the Early Bird VIP waitlist today. Visit VermontDogTrainer.com and click enroll to secure your spot on the Early Bird VIP waiting list. Because understanding how your dog thinks changes everything.
So I have two more things real quick since no one's here.
Yeah,
Because you were talking about that other dog, and every so often, like every few months, River gets like extremely anxious where we know this, like he has a specific jump when he's anxious, and he'll come over, like it's like sometimes it's usually when we're in the kitchen, he'll run over to us and he starts like jumping, and he won't leave our side, or he'll like stay in the corner, and we have no, like, each time this happens, there's nothing odd, there's nothing going on. I mean, unless he hears something that we don't hear, but it's so strange. And like I wasn't sure, because I remember when he was little, he's only done this like maybe 3 times. I know I picked him up. I know it's probably not a good thing to do because I'm, whatever. It doesn't matter. I did it. So yeah, like I was nurturing him, right? So that's what I did. And but he does that every so often, and I don't know what it is, and I wasn't sure like how you should respond to that.
Sounds like almost like a panic kind of jump, like he wants to crawl into your pocket. Is that kind of
Yeah, and like when we
Yeah.
hold, like if I were to hold him, he would, yeah, like he would be happy, But it's not like something he's doing so we can hold him. You can see it in him. His tail's underneath his legs, and he does his jump where we know it's like,
So the times that you have picked him up, is he like vibrating?
no, not that much.
Okay,
Um, Actually, I think maybe once he was, but this last
Yeah.
time, which was, I don't know, a few weeks ago, no, he wasn't shaking.
So what happened a few weeks ago though? Or ballpark, it doesn't matter. Like,
Yeah, maybe let's say between 6 and 4 weeks ago. I have no idea.
okay. And so, but do you remember when it happened, or do you remember like what happened and what he was doing though?
Yeah, and that's what that I
Okay.
always try to make like notice, like what's going on. We go over, because it's usually at night, and it's usually when we're in the kitchen, like the lights are off, like in the other areas of the house, even in like our family room, which is very close to our kitchen.
Yeah.
But like nothing happened. Nothing happened for his that reaction.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I guess I just didn't know when it does happen, what we should do.
I would just honestly put him on a leash and just walk him around the house a couple laps, like through the
Okay.
house.
Okay.
Just get his brain into doing something differently other than being in that, because he's in a flight mode.
Yeah.
It's just whatever he's getting away from, it's getting closer to you is moving away from that.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I see what you're
Yeah.
saying.
So you can
Okay.
acknowledge it, obviously not by all sorts of petting and snuggling, but you're like, okay, this is one of those moments. I mean, I would look at it like a kid having a bad dream coming to wake you up in the middle of the night kind of thing.
Right. Last time, we didn't pick him up or anything. This was like, like we've had him for 2 years and this has happened maybe 3 times. And
Yeah.
this last time was not too long ago. And we didn't pick him up. We just had him. He was just standing around by us. You could see he was just wanting to be by us in the corner. Like, so that's what we did.
Yeah.
But I didn't know.
I
Sometimes
just,
these,
yeah,
yeah.
I just want to redirect the brain into going somewhere else and doing something. That's all. Like when he was pacing in the loft area after the thing went down with your husband, like we need to redirect that brain so he doesn't experience that
Hmm.
longer. I want to hit that, like cut that right off as soon as possible.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And I have another question.
Okay.
Um, because it's just sometimes he does these things, and I know like when he barks, I know what to do, but like that's different. I wasn't sure what to do. And like when he is whining for whatever reason, let's say, I don't know if you want an example, but like let's say he's whining or crying. Do you treat that like do you just treat it as like he's barking and tell him to just to be quiet? Or because I've heard when I, first got in that that's not what you're supposed to do when he's crying or whining. Don't tell like don't I don't know what word is like
Address or acknowledge.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what
So,
I mean? And so I
so give me some context as to where it was going on or where it was happening.
um gosh. Most of the time we just kind of ignore it. Like sometimes it
Yeah.
happens, okay, like and it doesn't happen all the time, but like sometimes, and maybe it's his mood, I don't know. Like if me and him are inside and my husband's outside and River can see him outside, he'll start whining, like either
Okay.
he wants to go out there or he wants, my husband
Sure.
near or whatever. So
Sure.
something like that. What other times? Oh, I know when. Like if we're out somewhere and like sometimes we go for a walk and we go to this other place that has like right by the lake and it's got like these boulders or rocks and stuff. And sometimes we just go there and we just like walk there and then we'll walk back to our house. But when we're there, we just like hang out. We just like sit there, look at the
Yeah.
lake, chill.
Sure.
And sometimes he's just like had enough. And that can be even when I pick him up at like his daycare. If I'm sitting there talking to the owner, he'll just start whining like he wants to go
Yeah.
type of
Yeah,
thing.
like we have to move. That's it. It's funny. That's the vibe that I got was like, okay, it's time to move kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in that moment, that's when that's a good time to like do the post up maneuver.
Okay.
Like, nope, we're not going anywhere. And then, so you address that and go right back into what you were doing. So whether it's having a conversation with the daycare person or hanging out with your husband, looking at the lake, or you know what I mean?
Hmm.
And so if he gets back up again, I'm putting him right back into that spot. I'm not
Okay.
allowing him to deviate off of that and go, oh, but I can go over here. Nope, right back around. This is where you need to go.
Okay.
So a lot of times it can almost become an anxiousness.
Yeah.
And with anxious or anxiety type behaviors, dogs want to move and they want to pace. And so the more room he has to move or pace, the more this can actually escalate.
But it's funny because those times when we're at the daycare or when we're on our walk, he has a long leash and or he has, if I'm by the daycare, he can go. He's just literally sitting there or standing there whining, and sometimes he'll jump on me and whine,
Yeah.
like, come
Yeah.
on. So, I mean, he is free to go, but
Yeah, but
I
so
don't know why
probably
he
what's
did that.
happened in the past, unbeknownst to you, is that the little bit of the whining or crying has made
Mhm.
it so you guys start moving.
Okay.
And I can't tell you, Christy, how many times I saw that when I ran daycare. We'd bring the dog out to the client, dog would jump all over the client, start whining. We'd try to have a conversation. They wouldn't address the dog, and they're like, we'll tell you on Thursday, right? And then they walk out. So they're not taking that opportunity to address their dog.
Hmm.
And they're also, the dog is getting reinforcement for acting that way.
Hmm.
I'm so happy to
Okay.
see you. I get to jump on you, and that makes us move and leave. Perfect. We get to go out to the car.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
So what I would
Yeah.
do in those moments, if he gets a little anxious, bring him back, get a spot next to you, create that like chill for a moment, and just give it 5 to 10 seconds of peacefulness, and then you can go.
Okay.
So that's like a transition time, meaning like if I came to your house and we're all just sitting in the living room having a drink, talking about dog training, and River is chill, and it's time for me to get up and leave, that's a
Hmm.
transition time. So
Hmm.
that's is probably more of an important time than the actual like sitting in the living room time is,
Hmm.
because that's a shift in everybody's energy and the change.
Yeah.
So we don't want the dog to control that transition time, because then it turns into like links of a chain that all start to get connected,
Okay.
and like the domino effect of his behaviors that go out to the car, and then he might act a certain way in the car, and then when you get out of the car, and it just goes on and on and on.
Yeah. Yeah.
So an extra 5, 10, 15 seconds of peacefulness
Hmm.
can literally stop that uh, chain reaction of dominoes, and can help you create a new pattern.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And should I, like, in the example of like when one of us are outside and he's inside and he's whining, should I just do the same thing, just post him up?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep. Because we
Okay.
want him to know this. If you do this, is what gets you outside.
Okay.
Not all the noise. I just find, and to get back to kind of your original question, you're like, do I address the whining? What do I do? Sometimes you can address whining until you're blue in the face,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it gets exhausting. So I may give it once, like a sh or a hey, something, whatever word you're using. If
Hmm.
that doesn't work, I'm going to probably try something different. And it might be putting a leash on and moving him around and then parking him, waiting for that 10 or 15 seconds, and then we'll go outside.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
But
He
I'm
does,
telling
he
you,
doesn't, yeah.
the 10 or 15 seconds doing that a few times will save you hours in the long run.
Okay. Yeah. He's not, I mean, he doesn't whine a lot, but when he does, it's interesting. I can have, you feel that from him. Like he just wants to go, like he just wants to
Yeah.
move. So,
When I hear that, or when I'm next to a dog, that I start to feel that like tightness in my chest. And I'm
hmm.
like, oh, he wants to, like, you can feel that energy. Like the dog wants to go, but when I feel that, that's like, okay, this is my time. I have to take a deep breath. I have to relax and try to influence the other way rather than soak in all that anxiety.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. No,
Which takes time and a lot of practice.
yeah. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. I mean, and I feel that I feel that way exactly with him, but I feel that way with other people as well.
Mm,
And, like that's
yeah.
something detaching and yeah. So I understand. It's
Yes.
just something I've always done since I was young. So
Yeah.
doing it with him, yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
But,
Get that feeling in
oh,
grocery stores when you see somebody, and you're like, yeah, yeah, and you're like, okay, I really got to get going and keep shopping, and it's like kind of like, okay, I'm leaving, and you know, yeah, yeah,
oh
yeah,
my goodness.
good. So
I
you
can't
leave.
believe no one showed up. Do you ever have it when there's just one person?
I had a couple people message me on the side that normally show that said they
Oh,
couldn't make
okay.
it today. So, and it's a
Okay.
holiday week too, so it's
I
kind of
know, yeah.
like, but that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah.
You just got a private one-on-one Zoom call. That's all.
That's right. Yeah, we're leaving soon. Yeah, so Chicago's like 4 hours away from here.
Yeah. So you're going for the week or weekend?
Yeah, through the weekend.
Yep. Nice.
Um, while we're there though, you were saying like don't have River. You were saying like practice River not having time with you on the couch. Should I still do that? Like when I'm visiting my family?
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
for sure. Yeah.
He's gonna be like so I was gonna say he's gonna be so mad because the other dog is gonna be on the couch and we're gonna be like, no, but it's fine.
And maybe for the first day while you're right there, you put a leash on him and let him drag it around. So if he does jump up on there,
Mhm.
that you're not reaching for him, you're not creating any conflict, you're just grabbing the end of the leash, gently pulling him down and off, and you drop the leash.
Okay.
That's all. You'll
Yeah.
figure it out once you get there and you get the vibe, right? Like I
Yeah.
can give you a million different ideas of what to do, but once you get in there and you kind of like, all right, this is the energy in here, and this is how he's reacting, and this is what I have to do. So
Yeah. Yeah.
you'll figure it out. But and look, after 2 hours, you may be like, he doesn't need the leash. I got this covered.
Yeah.
Fine, take it off.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can always put it
Okay.
back on if you need to, but it just may help in the first little bit of like having to address if you need to. That's all.
Okay. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Thank you
Yep.
so much.
You're welcome.
So I think this is officially the 13th week. So I guess
Hmm.
we'll sign up and do the, however you call it, the grad thing.
The grad program. Yeah.
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 So I'll do that
Awesome.
this week. I just used I'm trying to remember if I saw the link. Because I
The
know I
link
saw, I
was
don't
in
know
the
if I
email,
read,
right?
yeah, I don't know if I read the 13th one yet, because I remember reading the 12th. I don't think I read the
Yeah.
13th, but there's like a link in
Okay.
there or something, right?
Yeah. And there's a little
Okay.
survey if you could fill that out too, which is just really easy answers and maybe just a little testimonial at the end that I could use on my social media and website and stuff.
Yeah,
Yep.
anytime you need anything,
Cool.
I'm there for you.
Awesome. I
I
appreciate
got
that. I
you.
appreciate that. That's awesome. Cool.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's what you do is amazing, and I like to see people signing up and like how
Yeah.
many followers you have, all that stuff, because yeah, we
Nice.
like
Well,
you a
thank
lot.
you. Thank you. That's awesome. I appreciate it. Well, I like in the past week I've had Zoom calls with people from Kansas and Washington State.
Wow,
It's cool to be able to connect with people from around the country, and I
it's
don't
so
know.
cool.
It
And
is.
then
It
and
really
then
is.
help them do something that's even like more rewarding too. And you're just, yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
So you do like
Uh,
private ones too?
yeah. Yeah, I've actually had a few with people in Europe too.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Kind of crazy.
That's
But
cool.
yep. Yep.
Awesome.
All right. Well, hey,
Okay.
safe travels to you and hopefully you have
Thanks.
a good Thanksgiving.
Yeah, you
And
too. Happy
yeah,
Thanksgiving.
we'll see you on some calls in the future.
Okay. Thanks,
All right.
Ian.
You're welcome, Christy.
Bye.
Have a good one.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.